Hi, I'm Bill Snyder, Sports Information Director at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Welcome to our homecoming edition of Bulldog Blitz. This week, filming in the Archives exhibit at Heidelberg Hall here on the Perkinston campus as homecoming festivities well underway. Of course, it's all culminating with the big game between Gulf Coast and Co-Lin coming up this Saturday at 2 o'clock. And it's big for a lot of reasons, but Coach, I know it's big because it's the next game. That means it's the most important game before we get into everything else.
That's right. We've got a series of one-game seasons, and that's how we approach it. Each game is the most important game, and this game, is the next one, and it's important, like I said, for a lot of reasons, because it's the next game, and we've been, I guess we've been on a couple of game winning streak now, and we're playing well, taking them one game at a time, and so it's important that we keep that going. It's also important for our playoff hopes. It looks like the winner of this game will have a chance to advance and continue chasing their goals. So it's a big football game.
It's big. We'll talk more about the Co-Lin matchup coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the Bulldogs are 6-1 overall, 3-1 in the South Division. Of course, Co-Lin has that same record. And as far as the Bulldogs are concerned, moved up a couple of spots in the MGCCC poll, which we'll look at a little bit later. But as we look at this season, Coach, it's one of those really you could take some words like resilience, adversity and the grind, survive and advance, all that. But we've gotten to this point, and, hats off to the players and you guys for, getting us to this point, because it certainly has not been easy.
No, it hadn't been easy. You start off the year preseason number one in the country, and everybody thinks that things are going to be easy for you. Yeah, they're not. They never are. There's no such thing as an easy road in football. There are always peaks and valleys and bumps in the road and things you have to overcome. And this group has done a tremendous job of overcoming a lot of adversity. With injuries and everything else, but the next man has always stepped up, and we've been able to pull through and put ourselves in a position where we're right back now. I mean, you're going to go over that poll here in a little bit, and I haven't looked at, but we're ranked somewhere in the top ever how many in the country with a chance to advance to the playoffs. I mean, every goal that we had 4 months ago when the first preseason poll came out is still on the table for us. So we just need to take care of business, find a way to win one football game, and then survive and advance. So very proud of the team's resiliency. We just need to keep it going.
Yeah, and you look at this season during that, we started off at home against Coahoma and Holmes. That's where we started having a few injuries here and there. And then a terrific game against Hines, which has proven to be more than just a worthy opponent. That seemed like that was a real, eye-opener. And then come home, take on Jones. They nick us up a little bit. Then go on the road, win two tough games with Northeast and Pearl River, and then really felt like one of our more complete games against Southwest. It really seemed like, though, after the first two games at Holmes, really had a tough test against Hines, and that kind of showed some of the mettle of the team being on the road, those kind of things. And that seems like really where things started to become defined for this team.
Yeah, that Hines game was, Hines is always tough. Great football team. This year they were, especially talented. And you didn't realize how big that game was until you look back weeks later. Well, Hines is sitting here 5-2 with their only losses being to I guess us and Co-Lin, and they beat, I guess, the number 2 team in the nation this past week in Jones. So that win on the road over Hines wound up being that was a big victory. And we were playing without some guys in that game, and so we've got a real good football team. What we have to do is play one play at a time, play together, and do all the things that we did this past week. Protect the football, eliminate the big plays, and we'll have a lot of fun this weekend.
when you see where we are and where the other teams are, we've talked about this a zillion times, but this is really the SEC of junior college football. When you see, I've heard a lot of the talk show folks talking about the SEC and, in college football cannibalizing themselves, if you will. And that's kind of what happens with us, us, Jones, Hines, Co-Lin, all these teams, there's not that much difference really when you get down to it. Everybody's pretty tough.
Right. In the South Division, the MACJC South is, there's some tough teams in that in that league, and the Co-Lin, great football team, and that's our number one focus. But Co-Lin's always really good. Jones, last 2 years have been, and they've always been good. Jones has been good for years. Coach Eddie Pierce had those guys at a high level. I mean, they were the year we won the national championship. Now you need to understand. Jones had the number 2 team in the nation, and they were a smidgen from beating us in both those games. Our guys found a way to win. So Jones has always been good. Co-Lin has always been good. Hines, perennial power. We're not even talking about Pearl River, who, was the last team besides us and out of the South to win a national championship. And, they won 4 in a row, I guess, 10 years ago. So they've, perennial power. And then you throw in Southwest East Central, who are always dangerous football teams. So the MACJC South is very, very, very strong. I mean, you have to be ready to play on a weekly basis.
That's right, and hopefully the Bulldogs will be ready to play this week for homecoming against Co-Lin. As we said, we'll take a look at that game a little bit later in the show, but right now we'll take a commercial break, and we'll come back with an MGCCC player profile.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm going into nursing field, and I came to JD because it's very close to my house, and I figured that if I just want to do my basics, I can just go to university later.
Well, first the college, I picked the college that's really close to home. My dad worked at Chevron, and he always told me about it, got me really interested.
And it's close enough to home to where I still get a really great college experience, but I still feel like this is my home, like this is a place that I can be comfortable.
And welcome back to Bulldog Blitz. You saw the Week 8 schedule. A lot of people playing homecoming games. We have some games on Thursday, some games on Saturday. Of course, the most important, the one coming up this Saturday here between Gulf Coast and Co-Lin. Right now, time for our player profile segment. We'll head to the offensive line and check in with sophomore Nick Proby.
I came from D'Iberville High School, and walking on, I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder. I had something to prove, and I did that, and I was able to do that here. I got my opportunities, and I'm just making the most of them each and every day. At the end of the day, what really counts is that W. That's what really counts, no matter if you blow them out by 50 or you win by 1. It's the W, and right now we're at our healthiest since Coahoma, since the beginning of the season. And we've had a few injuries, and it really forces the backups to really step up and actually grow into their own and become somebody that we can count on, no matter if the starter's hurt or vice versa. We got guys that can come in and play just despite not having a lot of reps underneath the belt. But we're getting better, we're getting healthier, and that's really good because we're able to rotate and keep guys fresh. Our unit as an O-line, we're brothers, and there's nothing more that we want to do and to establish our dominance within the game, whether it be through the run game or the pass game. We want the coach to put the game on our shoulders every time, and I feel that's how it needs to be as an offense. You need to be able to put the weight on the O-line. I mean, we're the biggest for a reason. And so I think that's really what's helped us, and we're real close with each other. I mean, we're like brothers. We really are.
Coach, when you talk about Nick Proby, we've interviewed him several times for some of our scholarship gala stuff, and just a terrific story. Comes up here, walks on, earns a scholarship, and becomes a team leader. And you see in that piece how well-spoken he is. That's one of the guys you got to love having on your team and on the offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Nick is a great leader for us, both on the field and off the field. You know, there's a tremendously hard worker. You know, he's a self-made football player. He's a guy that loves the weight room. You know, has turned himself into a heck of an offensive lineman. He's over a 400-pound bench presser. I mean, he's strong as an ox. But the thing that separates Nick is his work ethic and his intelligence. I mean, Nick's a guy that, you know, he's taken all of his calculuses here. I mean, he's a guy that has had Cal 1, Cal 2, Cal 3, I guess Cal 4, and bench presses 400 pounds. And so you don't find guys like that. They're not on every street corner. He is a special guy. Been a great leader for us, and he's a big part of what we try to do up front. He's a guy you can hang your hat on. You know he's going to be there every day, coming to work and being a great leader. Special guy who will he's going to go very, very far in life.
Yeah, Nick Proby, one of our offensive linemen, one of the sophomores on this year's Bulldog team, as we get ready for homecoming coming up this Saturday. Speaking of homecoming, as we head into this break, we'll take a look at our Athletic Hall of Fame honorees. They were honored Thursday night in a ceremony down in Biloxi. You're watching Bulldog Blitz here on WLOX.
I've had a great experience here at Gulf Coast, and I'm really glad I made the decision to come here.
Basically, a lot of family members came here, you know, telling me good things about it.
I love it. The clinical experience, everything about it. I loved it. The teachers are great.
I also take a weekend class. You only meet 4 times a week, which is so much better for my schedule.
The classes are smaller, which means the teachers, you know, can help you more easily.
I've gained the confidence that I am ready to go off and do great things.
Welcome back to Bulldog Blitz. You saw coming out of that break our Alumni Hall of Fame honorees, along with our Sam Owen Award honoree and Spirit of Gulf Coast Award winners. Lots of homecoming stuff going on this weekend. Those guys you saw did their part here at Gulf Coast a while back, and now we're going to take a look at some guys who also made their hay here at Gulf Coast, and now they're playing on Sundays in the NFL. We'll take a look at that right now. Let's start our look at MGCCC alums in the NFL with 49ers defensive back Tremaine Brock. The Long Beach native had a coming-out party against Houston in a recent Sunday night game. He had 2 interceptions, with the first one being a pick six at the beginning of the contest as San Francisco routed the Texans 34-3. Brock played in last season's Super Bowl with San Francisco across from current Baltimore Raven Terrence Cody. TC's now in his 4th year with the defending Super Bowl champs. It's been a tough 2013 for Colts running back Vic Ballard. He injured his knee during a recent practice and is now out for the season after a terrific 2012 rookie campaign. Former Bulldog Chris White had a wild beginning to 2013. He was with the Buffalo Bills, then traded from Buffalo to Detroit, then released a few days later, then picked up by the New England Patriots. So now he's teammates with Tom Brady. If you're a Saints fan, you've seen rookie nose tackle John Jenkins help the New Orleans defense make huge strides in 2013. The Saints are off to a 5-1 start.
It was a dream come true, man. Like, in all my interviews and stuff like that, I always mention Gulf Coast because I remember where I came from. You know, Gulf Coast got me on this road to success where I'm at today. So, you know what I mean, I always try to give thanks and remember where I came from. You know, Coach Ryan, man, he he knows the stuff. You know, he knows the stuff, man. Great coach, man. One of them guys where you just want to go out and do everything that he wants you to do at the best of your ability. And being in this scheme, man, I've been in this scheme since day one. Gulf Coast was a 3-4, you know, multi-D. Georgia as well. So now it's nothing unfamiliar to me, but at the same time, it's like being in a situation where everything is a little mixed around, getting Coach Payton back. You know, that's a big help for us as well.
Jenkins is teammates with another former Bulldog, defensive lineman Tom Johnson. And let's not forget about Greg Jenkins. Jenkins signed with Oakland in training camp, and currently he's on the Raiders practice squad. Coach, every Sunday I have to scan the stats and watch the highlights because you never know what's going to happen. I just sat down to watch Houston, San Francisco, not really expecting much, and bam, Tremaine Brock picks off 2 passes right there off the bat. So that got the Twitter feed going. When you see that, and, you know, John Jenkins, Chris White, even with Vic Ballard, even though he's injured, you know, Jenkins, it's great to see those guys move on and be successful at the highest level.
It is, you know, that's, you know, every young man's goal whenever he, I guess, starts off playing peewee ball is to hopefully someday maybe play in the NFL. And it's great to see a lot of those guys that have passed through here being able to play at the highest level and have an opportunity to play on Sundays. And we do, you know, Sunday's a big work day for us as coaches. So we and our players, you know, when you play on Thursday, you have to be back. We have to practice Sunday evening. So we don't always get to watch them, but we definitely get to keep up with them. And like Tremaine this past week, he was all over the highlights. You get home at night and you flip it on, and Tremaine Brock with 2 picks and a pick 6. And John Jenkins, a big play against the Dolphins. I guess that was on Monday night on the 3rd and short when he had to tackle for a loss. You know, all those, you know, that's what's fun is when you – and then Don Jones had a big play where he caused a turnover. So when those guys show up on – that's when you know they're really doing well, when they show up on plays of the day. And we've had a lot of them. You know, DeMond was a CFL player, and Alonzo has gotten a player of the week in the CFL, and then all those guys in NFL. So it is really it makes us proud to know that those guys came through here and to see how well they're doing, and it's fun to keep up with them.
This is why I have you here, because in that piece, I didn't have Don Jones, and I was going to add in DeMond and Alonzo in the CFL. So there you go. Coach Campbell gets a save there for me. And we talk about the pro guys. In college, it's the same thing. You look around on Saturday, sprinkled about all over the places are a lot of our guys that played here, you know, in the recent last 2 or 3 years, and they're doing terrific as well.
Yeah, you know, big Chris Mays, you know, George has been on TV a lot this year, the LSU game, the South Carolina game, the Clemson game, and Chris Mays is the next big defensive guy, big nose guard, you know, following in the Terrence Cody, John Jenkins. Now Chris Mays is playing in the middle at University of Georgia and making a lot of plays. You've got Rashad Fortenberry doing well out at Texas Tech, and they're playing really well. I think they're undefeated, yeah. He's starting for them at tackle. Jeremy Graffrey at La Tech doing really well on the offensive line. Dylan Holly playing a lot at Mississippi State on their offensive line. I know he started 2 weeks ago against Troy. So a lot of guys doing really well. Big win for University of West Alabama. We've got the Cade Amaker, Mario Gaynor, and Willie Packer are 3 very important parts of their team. They just beat the #1 team in the country at Valdosta State. They beat them by 19. So that was a huge win for them. So there's a lot of guys spread out throughout the country playing. JoJo Snell on Facebook. JoJo, you know, I keep up with him. He's had a couple of 100-yard games out at East Central University in Oklahoma. So a lot of guys all over the country playing really well, and that's exciting to see.
You know, you talk about that. I did look at that with JoJo at East Central. I was like, East Central. There's a 4-year school, East Central, out in the Plains, and you think about that. Well, you know, you never really heard of it. The guy running for the Saints, Kyrie Robinson, right now is from West Texas A&M or something, and he's in the pros. So, I mean, you never know. You get to that 4-year level, and it's true. You never really know what's going to happen.
No, you know, Bill, I played Division II football. I played Division I AA. They dropped football. I transferred to Division II school. I've coached Division II, Division I AA, Division 1A, and junior college. Bill, there's not a dime's bit of difference between, you know, the athletic ability to be in junior college. We've got probably more NFL players than a lot of Division 1As. You know, which you look at all those guys we got in the NFL. You take a lot of Division 1s, unless you're high level SEC, you're not going to have that many guys playing in the NFL. So there's more talent, I would say, at this level. And then you go Division II. That is great football. Division II is good football. 1AA is good. It's not all about Division 1A. That's great, and that's something to aspire to. But there's great football at all levels. East Central University. Whoa, like you said, there's a lot of great. Danny Woodhead is from a Division II school, a great football player. Jerry Rice, back when Jerry played, Valley was D2. You can go on and on and on. There's been a lot of it. Walter Payton, Jackson State at that point in time was a, quote, lower level school. So some of your all-time greatest are from lower level, quote, lower level, and I don't even like to say that.
Right.
And I do like to think now that, in my mind, if you equate that's lower, you don't know football. So when somebody, man, that's a small college, automatically I go, well, they really don't know, because football is football, across the board. There's a lot of great players at all levels.
There you go. We got all those guys in the pros and in college doing great work at all different levels, as Coach talked about. Well, coming up after the break, we'll talk more about the big game coming up against Co-Lin heading in. We'll look at this week's NJCAA poll. The Bulldogs move up to number 7. Co-Lin's number 5, so a top 8 matchup coming up this Saturday. You're watching Bulldog Blitz here on WLOX.
Programs here, they don't just give you the basic knowledge of the program, they teach you how to work with a client and go out in the real world.
All of my instructors have been a great help for me.
One-on-one experience that you need, and just always there to help you out when you need it.
You get that one-on-one interaction with your teacher. The teachers are very welcoming.
I really like the idea of being able to go to a smaller student-to-teacher ratio.
They teach you how to be confident, and that's a very useful skill that you can apply to anything.
You're watching Bulldog Blitz, sponsored this season by Raising Cane's, Jack's Home Improvement, The Shed in Gulfport, and the Whistle Stop in Wiggins. Now, back to more Bulldog Blitz.
Then coming out of that break, you saw how our soccer teams are doing. The girls got a couple of big wins. They beat Pearl River, then beat Meridian to clinch a spot in the playoffs, and the guys are headed that way as well. So congrats to them here as they head down the stretch of their season. The Saturday coach, Co-Lin, comes in. The most important game because it's the next game. We had a top 8 matchup, a South Division game, playoff spot on the line. Oh, yeah, and the last time they came here, they beat us in the title game. So you throw all that in there, and if you can't get motivated for this one, I guess, you got to check your pulse, right?
Yeah, we'll be ready to play. I'm not shouldn't be concerned about the guys being ready to play. They know it's a big game because it's the next one. We need it to get into the playoffs and homecoming, all that stuff. I thought we, have had a good week of practice, and we need to go out and play well. Co-Lin's got a great football team. They've gone and they've got a big 6'5" quarterback that can really throw the football. They've got a receiver, Gladney, that is a big time, one of their big time playmakers this year. But he's really good. Defensively, they present a lot of problems. They're a 3-3 stack, real reminiscent of what Steve does on defense. But they've got a few tweaks and things that they like to do. They're a blitzing, man-to-man pressing defense that has done a good job of creating a lot of turnovers. So what we need to do is pressure their quarterback, make him turn the football over, and do a really good job of protecting the football ourselves. We'd gone 2 weeks in a row without a turnover, and in this past week we had 2 turnovers. So that's something that we definitely need to. You got to protect the football, right? And that they're a very aggressive defense. This Co-Lin bunch does a great job defensively, and then offensively they're an explosive group.
Yeah, and when you throw that in with the homecoming stuff, I don't know. I guess I'll ask you this: at this level, does it become too much of a distraction, or are the guys pretty much focused? I mean, they, as far as the players, not too much involved in everything, but they do know, hey, it's homecoming, a special game. But other than that, I guess really, is it business as usual?
You try to go about it business as usual. Each the preparation of your routine that you go through. But there are some things going on this week with the homecoming dances and the pep rallies, the bonfire pep rally stuff, different things that you have at homecoming that you don't necessarily have during a regular season, regular week. Mamas, maybe guys that are from far off, their mothers will be here, girlfriends, family that maybe haven't had an opportunity to see them play. And, you just want to make sure that the guys stay focused on the task at hand. And they, for the most part, have we've done a great job of that this week. Now we need to continue and see it all the way through. But homecoming always presents a couple of things that a regular game doesn't present. But those can be, those are both, it's a double-edged sword. It's good to get to play in front of a lot of folks and your parents and your family that maybe hadn't had a chance to see you play. That's extra motivation. What you don't want to let it do is distract you pregame, trying to get them tickets, trying to do this, trying to do that, all that. So you need to get your mind focused and get ready, and the guys have done that.
Beautiful. So the game comes up this Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll be streaming this week. No radio due to some conflicts with some other college games, but we'll be streaming at 2 o'clock on MGCCCBulldogs.com. The Bulldogs and Wolves for a spot in the playoffs, homecoming, all that stuff. It should be a fantastic game Saturday at Perkinston. For Coach Campbell, I'm Bill Snyder. Thanks for watching, as always, on Bulldog Blitz. Thanks to Charlie Sullivan for letting us set up here in the Archives exhibit at Heidelberg Hall. Thanks for watching. Have a great night and a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm going into nursing field, and I came to JD because it's very close to my house, and I figured that if I just want to do my basics, I can just go to university later.
Well, first at college, I picked the college that's really close to home. My dad worked at Chevron, and he always told me about it, got me really interested.
And it's close enough to home to where I still get a really great college experience, but I still feel like this is my home, like this is a place that I can be comfortable.
And now a Bulldog Blitz special feature, another edition of Chalk Wars.
Down to make it look like the power to the linebacker. Slide. You got in man on the line just like power. We run a vertical here and a vertical on the outside, trying to get the dog. Hard sweep play action here. Trying to get the dog to come down and hit him in the seam. All right? If that's not the guy making the play on the sweep, then that play action's not going to be there. We've got a coach up in the box that's sitting there, who made the play? I want to know who made the play. Is it this guy whipping the block? Is it this guy scraping hard? Is it the free? If the free's getting down hard, we're going to try to throw the post behind him. But the next thing we do, if we're running it, he's squeezing, we're getting a sweep outside, and this guy's making the play, we're going to come back with the vertical right off of it.
Offensive linemen are like your mother. They don't lie to you. So we're reading. With this down block, that looks like a run block. Our corner and free safety are the last two run defenders, because the play that the corner would have to make out here is going to take a long time for that ball to get here. So we're slow reading him, and if he sees pass, he'll take the vertical of one, and this vertical should run right into the free safety. Again, that's a Jimmy and Joe, and they got to read their keys and react as soon as their key tells them what to do.